Welcome back to the news, everybody. So, Sony, they're getting in a little spot of bother. I mean, we cover the Ghost of Tsushima, PS5 sort of extra money locked, are they holding back extra features for a tenner? We covered that story a bit earlier, but there are two other stories going on with Sony. Number one, Greedfall, and it ending up with a very bizarre next-gen upgrade thing that, in a way, you can really see is just nickel and diming and bullshit, but also from the company's perspective and how deals are actually struck up in the games industry and your contract terms and all that stuff, I think there could be more to it. But then there's the first story we're going to cover about Sony today, which is indie publishers basically deciding it is time to burn the bridge. This comes from Ian Garner initially. Now, after all of this happened, Ian was interviewed by Kotaku, and he said Platform X, which by the way is not Xbox, is letting down indies on a massive scale while using us as a key part of their marketing. I mean, that doesn't really look good. The recent call I had showed they have no regard for us, our opinions, or our livelihoods. Now, you might be thinking, is this just a bunch of indie publishers crying they're not making enough money? Well, they do say here is, what's worse is that it ensures that their customers get a worse deal and have less options. So, this seems to be bad for the indie developers, bad for the indie publishers, and bad for the consumers. And also, I think, bad for Sony, because I think there's a deeper reason to why this is going on, but to understand that, first, I've got to take you through Ian's Twitter thread. He says he's mad enough to burn bridges because, honestly, what's the point of there being a bridge if you can't cross it? He says this is about Platform X. And he's not going to say what Platform X is, just that it's the operator of a successful console and it does not have Game Pass. So it's Sony, and it is confirmed to be Sony. So he says Platform X gives developers no ability to manage their games. In order to get promotion, you've got to jump through hoops, beg and plead for any level of promotion. And a blog post is not as good as what Sony thinks that it is. So if they don't like your game, no fanfare, no feature, no love. So basically, there are some things on the publisher end when a publisher is trying to secure store placement and things like that, where and I know a fair bit about how Steam works, and Steam are great for this, but Sony are a bunch worse. Now you might be thinking, how does that impact me? Well, it does impact the store you look at, but you're right. Right now, it's not that big for the end user, but don't worry, it's going to be big for the end user because Sony are kind of guaranteeing that you, the PlayStation player, get the worst deal possible. But are they doing it maliciously, or is it incompetence? Well, Ian goes on to say, there is nothing that a publisher can do to fix this, an indie pub. Wish lists have no effect for things like store placement. So your personal marketing means nothing in Platform X. So that means whenever a publisher actually commits to spending money to market a game, well, because the store is just entirely seemingly manually ran by Sony, that doesn't really matter. All that matters is Sony's evaluation. They do not share their evaluation with you. They don't share the value they ascribe to a game. So as he says, before a launch, you need to develop a game for that platform. You need to get through their incredibly difficult lot check spread over 3 generations of back-end software. That sounds fun. You've got to submit a specific trailer and a specific blog post. Then you've got to submit multiple forms for social media. And on points 3 and 4, which is the trailer and the blog post, you've got to do that through an account manager. When they asked how to get an account manager, they were told, quote, I'm not sure, they are assigned by resources. But the publisher's got no idea, no way to know what resource level they've actually been assigned. So it's kind of mad. Now here's where it starts to get really annoying and in a way where it hurts the consumer. By the way, you cannot even do a launch discount without their approval, and it is very limited. That's right, you can't do the thing that every other platform does, meaning Platform X owners will always get the worst deal. Yeah, so to actually run a promotion, you need to get their approval. And as he goes into, this starts to get really, really, really bonkers. But first, there's the $25,000 thing to get a feature. He says, but don't worry, there is a way to guarantee you get featured. All you need to do is give Sony $25,000 and 30% of your subsequent earnings. Because you are literally paying for advertisement on a store, and then the sales you generate through that advertisement, the store earns money from. Now, it's the sort of thing you could say, if there is algorithmically going to be a game that converts the best, then that should get the store feature. And if you want to pay for your game to be on top, well, you should pay to make up for the fact that Sony will lose some potential money by not putting a higher converting game in that promotion spot. And if this was the Apple ecosystem or the Android ecosystem on their stores, yeah, I mean, you Google a task management app on the iOS store, and one of its competitors is going to be there as a sponsored search. You want to go look at, say, Monday.com, the project management software, on Google or something, you'll see a sponsored post. But the thing is, that doesn't happen in Steam. It doesn't happen on Microsoft. So from the perspective of a console and PC indie publisher, Sony are the people who are basically breaking the rules. Not the rules, but, they're breaking convention. But don't worry, it's about to get worse for you, the customer. Now when your game is on the platform, likely without any support from the platform, you may think, don't worry, I can sync up discounts with Steam and other platforms. Wrong. Discounts are invite only, and invites are very limited. He says here, it has been literal years since we could put a title of ours in discount. And I spoke to other very popular developers today, and they had the same experience. So even if you launch a game on this platform, Sony, PlayStation, and that game does well, you want to run a promotion in your game? No. You want to ensure that the PlayStation price matches the Steam promotion price? No. You cannot do that. And that is bad for you, the customer, on PlayStation, because it basically means that your PlayStation box has a decreased value because it gives you exclusive access to a storefront that you need to use, and that storefront is less competitive with others in the market. So he says, in conclusion, Platform X is super successful and awesome hardware, but their backend and process is straight out of the early 2000s. I have no idea how to succeed in this platform. They won't tell me. Even if I do succeed, they'll screw me anyway. So for any gamers who wondered here, next time you're unhappy about your game never being discounted on Sony, or a game that you want not coming out on Sony, complain to Sony, because basically it is their fault. Now this was then corroborated by one of the guys from Some Awesome Guys, who are, they're a publisher as well. Basically, he said, yes, this is all true, and by the way, it's Sony. And then we had Matthew White of Whitehorn Games come in and basically say that all of this stuff is hostile to indies to the point where this is their company sales breakdown. Where, okay, Nolan North and the color blue, that might just be PlayStation. Gabe, oh, that might just be Steam. Green, oh, I wonder, maybe that's Xbox. Plumber without a wrench, red, Nintendo. Now, this is a company who I think would do better on something like the Switch in terms of, I'd say that people who like Animal Crossing would enjoy this company's games. But look at the difference between PlayStation and Xbox, even in a world where PlayStation is the more dominant platform in terms of unit sales. And that basically is this first story. Now, we do have to talk about the Greedfall situation. I think it's time to jump into analysis with this one. And I think the easiest way to do that is to say, is this something we attribute to incompetence or to malice?
This is absolutely incompetence, because this serves no one in any capacity. It is literally a byproduct of how they haven't set up investments in the way that other places have years and years ago. Because the main comparison I'm going to use is almost like the especially talking about like the wish lists and how personal marketing works, right? So on Steam, they don't need to charge you for big front of page, because they've got all these systems designed. They've got all of these algorithms. They know what kind of player you are. They know what games are being actually like wishlisted. They know how wish lists for certain players. They probably know how much of that wish list is intent to purchase on an individual player basis, because that data all exists. So they're just going to know, like, not even they, because no one at Valve is looking at this data. It's all just, they've set the system up, it'll run. So they just know, oh, well, we'll put the game that's more likely to sell to you because you'll enjoy it at the top of the list. There you go. You don't have to pay for that because, it all just works for everyone perfectly. Well, that's assuming the games are good and you want to buy them.
Yeah.
Of course. But over at Sony, it seems to be completely manually curated, which means you've got this problem of the people with money are at the top and players are getting just not a store that will actually sell them anything they want. But it can't be malice because it doesn't actually like benefit them.
I think the 25 grand thing feels like malice, but it's like in lieu of, in a world where they have to do their store placements manually, where they don't have good algorithms, you can understand them just thinking that that is how our store is run. If you want a feature, you got to pay. Whereas Steam would see that and think, well, no, we don't need 500,000 account managers and people to run any of this shit. We just make good systems, and look, they work. Sony don't have that, so they're caught playing this game that the other companies don't have to play, and that's why they have better stores. And I mean, certainly I've heard that Xbox converts better.
That's something that I find a bit strange. I honestly wouldn't have expected Xbox, especially in that breakdown of revenue, like assuming that's pure sales revenue and it's not impacted by anything like, you know, like a Game Pass subsidy or anything like that. I definitely wouldn't have expected indies to do so well on that platform. But I guess it's literally just because their stores, it seems to be a little bit more free for all.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, it's Microsoft. It's not like you got big first parties to play instead.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Soon you will. I'm happy, but
yeah, that's true. I guess over on the Sony side, it's straight up like you see what Sony want you to see that will profit. They'll provide them the most profit.
Yeah,
within as far as they know, because I mean, like if they're going to throw the PSPlus and the PlayStation Hits and you know whatever, if you played a demo, they'll show you the full version, or you know Bandai Namco will give them. Like, because their marketing spend's been insane recently. Here's, you know, how much money to throw Scarlet Nexus everywhere. Even though Xbox have they've been primarily marketing on the Xbox, but it's still they've been throwing money like crazy. And obviously, you know, whoever's running the store at Sony is going to make do with what they have, which is, the marketing spend traditional way of doing it instead of
they're caught playing the old school game. And I guess it's the sort of thing you think about. You know, recently them killing the Vita store, the PS3 store, things like that, and you just sort of realize, oh yeah, wait, this fundamental store architecture was probably made ages ago, back when everything was coming from Sony Japan. Yeah, I mean, was it the PS2 where the initial, or the PS3 where the first dev kits had manuals that were in Japanese?
I think that was the PS2.
PS2, okay, yeah. So, and that weird, you know, like how hackable the Sony stuff was. I mean, PSN was down for like a month or some crazy shit. So you just think, well, okay, the Sony backend must be really bad. Perhaps there's been a changing of the guard where it is PlayStation America who are ruling the roost now, not PlayStation Japan. Maybe PlayStation America is trying to clean up house. Maybe that's why you see them try to deprecate these old stores, so they're no longer having to support compatibility across a whole, you know, bunch of stuff. And you can just sort of put the little pieces together that maybe they're just back-end architecture is a total piece of shit, and that's led to this being the only way they can run their store, which obviously is going to fail indies. And it's no surprise that the platforms, the platform that can do a bit better for indies, maybe not the exact indies here, but is the likes of Steam, where, you know, it's got the algorithms and the things like that, which of course do present their own whole host of problems. So yeah, I think that's basically that. I mean, as much as Matthew did have a big part coming from, plumber without a wrench, the Switch eShop's a piece of shit.
Oh, the Switch eShop is honestly,
sucks.
It is terrible, but
it had amazing conversion rates for indies in the beginning, but the store has not been able to scale with the quantity of games, which means that it's a mess and it's very easy to get buried.
Yeah, it is very much, like, in terms of my usage of it, it is very much just you pray that your game's there. You put it on an aggressive enough discount that it shows up if you like sort by price and stuff like that. That's kind of the way to do it. Or you've got people who are just browsing new releases and buying loads of games, which seems to be the thing about like a crossover between the Vita audience and the Switch audience, as well as like the more casual kind of Switch audience as you would expect. It seems like there's just so much more hunger for more games across those platforms. Like, I'd love to see the attach rate for Switch third parties and indies versus Sony stuff. I'd say the number of games is significantly higher, assuming you exclude all the stuff you get from subscriptions and whatnot, because that'll kind of muddy it. But it's like the Vita thing and the Switch thing, where there are avid collectors of games of all sorts, be they good, be they bad, be they kind of interesting. So I wonder if there's like something about the portable nature of it and how the Switch has kind of replaced the Vita for a lot of people in a whole ton of ways. Like, that seems like a small audience, but I wonder if you extrapolate that out into the like more kind of casual thing.
Yeah,
Are
if,
you
if
just going to see
you're
that?
more of a casual gamer, you're playing games that are not super frame rate dependent, and I guess you also have a very big SD card, then the Switch can actually work quite well for indies. And that was basically have a scalability problem with the eShop, but it was always known to do very well for indies in the beginning. Now, we do have to move on to our next news story, though, which is the one on there being no free PS5 upgrades for the PS Plus Greedfall owners, which is kind of funny. So, if you purchase Greedfall on PS4, you'll get a free next-gen upgrade. If you got Greedfall for free on PS Plus, you will be able to continue playing it on the PS5, but it will be the PS4 version running in backwards compatibility. And if you want the PS5 version, you will have to purchase the newly released Gold Edition if you want those next-gen improvements. So you can see here that from the perspective of a customer, they're going to be thinking to themselves, well, I own Greedfall because I purchased this subscription, and I now get the shit. I don't get the good version of Greedfall. Now, from the perspective of the company, it's like, well, that was a time-limited promotion, the scope of which was for the PS4 when it was agreed. And because we basically gave the game out for free to so many people, would it make sense for us to, even though we don't literally need to honor some sort of next-gen upgrade thing? And the company's probably going to think, well, no. That falls without the bounds of that. Maybe it doesn't make sense given how much money they got in return for being in PS Plus. So there's a bunch of like contract terms and business things that could make it not make sense for the company. But from your average user experience, it's like, oh, these people who own Greedfall in return for money in some way get shafted. These people do not. That feels bad. Because it feels bad, there is some anger happening.
And well, I'm going to say rightfully so, but mostly because it's confusing, as opposed to because people should be like entitled to this or whatever else.
Next gen upgrades are just a shit show.
They are a complete mess at the minute. Like, I mean, this one's actually like, I don't really mind. I don't really care about Greedfall. I'm not too worried about not having the free upgrade to the PS5 version. I'll play it. It'll be fine, whatever. But I'm actually kind of pissed off about the FF7 one, the FF7 remake, because I have that game because of PS Plus on PS4. Sweet, I would love to play it. Except there's a PS5 version out now, so I'd rather play that, but I won't have it, so it's kind of, it's made my purchase feel awful in retrospect. That's a little bit weird because Intergrade technically has more content, because like the full, it's almost a little closer to here's the Game of the Year edition on PS5, but...
And this is where it's a good time to jump into Sharif's article for VG247, because outside of the new content, existing owners have also been looking forward to PS5 and Xbox Series S/X upgrade patches that enhance performance and boost visuals. So, it's that sort of thing. Microsoft has set it up such that on Team Xbox, you just get that next-gen upgrade. It just happens. It's a patch. So for this... it feels like you're paying for a patch. And maybe that's getting similar to all the people who saw like, oh wait, so really the new Iki Island in Ghost of Tsushima is worth $20. But if I want to have a better frame rate, a higher resolution, and controller features, I'm going to have to pay another tenner? What? Even though I think you could make the argument that all of the dev work that goes into like redoing the save load system, implementing all of those things, that genuinely that does make the game better in a way where dev work has to be put in, and in a way where it would be above and beyond your standard Xbox S/X upgrade patch, but you can still get why it feels bad.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where it's like the lines are so blurred between all these next gen upgrades that my instinct as like, if I were involved in this business, now obviously I don't know any of the numbers behind any of it, so I can't actually make a choice. But my gut instinct would be, well, obviously you go on the line that makes consumers happier, even if it's at a little bit of a loss. Because you have to wonder, how many people would actually enjoy Greedfall now if, they got to play a game on their PS5? And that was one of the games they had on PS Plus from this big massive list of games. And it just says, oh, PS5 now. You're like, oh, you know what? This now stands out of the, it stands above the crowd. So I'll go play it and see. And players are happy about this. But at this point, it's like, well, oh, I was going to play that, but now I guess I'll just have to buy the game, so I'm not going to play this version. Almost what I would almost have with FF7 Remake if I weren't intending to play it eventually. It's that idea of, oh, this product that I got for my subscription, that I have to still have an active subscription to play, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not like you've owned it forever, like you do with like a Twitch Prime kind of thing. Or I don't even know if that's the case, but it's that thing where Greedfall for PS4 that you got for free now feels worse by comparison.
Yeah, it does not get a free upgrade that people who just bought the game get.
Yeah.
I mean, you're locking a free upgrade out.
Yeah, it's not even like a platform comparison or anything. It is literally just the idea that, oh, there is a better version of this game out now that I have to pay for, even though I did technically pay for this in a way.
Yeah.
It's really it just kind of reeks of they haven't done what the consumer friendly thing is. They haven't went, well, how can we make our players happy with this? And for whatever reason, like, because even that might even just be how PSPlus and like how dishing out products in the PSPlus thing actually goes. They might have to, you know, if they were to give it away for free, they might have to add it to like the next month of PSPlus, because that's technically a different SKU on the system. It's a PS5 game instead of a PS4 game, because it's like the free upgrades are like you unlock the new game, the PS5 one, on like the smart delivery system on Xbox, which is just, this is one game with different, like, you know, children.
Yeah.
It's really weird, but at the end of the day, it's just, why did you not, either the publisher or Sony, why did you not do the thing that would make players of your game and people on your subscription service the happiest?
Either contract term bullshit or more money because of that next gen double dip. And you do think that the more money bit starts to win out whenever you see it happening with other Sony first parties as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's even the fact that PS5 players are more likely at this point to be double dippers in whales anyway.
Yeah, because put money into the console, you want to run games at 60 FPS.
Yeah, so expect that in the next maybe 3, maybe 4 years, when PS5 sales are kind of dipping down a little bit, and they're they have to actually advertise the PS5 more and get more people in. They'll start throwing in old next-gen upgrades for free and go, oh, look at that. Do you want your old PS4 library up to PS5 now? Because you as a consumer seem to not want to upgrade to PS5. We'll start to sweeten the deal now.
Well, that would be quite funny.
Yeah.
I think so. Basically, your TLDR here is it's the usual with Sony. They typically make absolute bangers of games, but when it comes to Sony as a business, they feel like in the here and now mercenaries.
Absolutely.
That's pretty much that. So let us know what you guys think about these stories. And I mean, as somebody with a PS5 or a PS4, have you been pissed off about the raw deal you get with indies? Have you noticed that it's way cheaper in Steam? Let us know.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we've all noticed. Yep. So, aye. Right. Have a great day. See you later.